Welcome to Game 2 of the Junior Roller Derby 2024 Championships. We're coming to you live from Chicago, Illinois. Actually, it's in Palatine. This next bout is going to be up against in the black jerseys, we have Pixie Roller Derby. And in the white jersey, we have Foxtail Junior Roller Derby. They are seed 3 and 6 coming into this event. This is sure to be a good matchup if you just tuning in. Last game, game 1, went to Des Moines. We'll be playing again at 5 o'clock today against Philly. And just as a reminder, we are working under a code of conduct with JRDA, and this is a reminder that JRDA exists to help everyone involved, from the skaters, parents, and officials to league volunteers and spectators. Learn and grow in a safe, fun, and supportive environment. In order to facilitate that, the JRD has a code of conduct that will be enforced this weekend. Here are some highlights of the JRDA expectations. All participants on and off skates, and including the fans, are expected to uphold a welcoming, positive learning environment at all times. That's in the venue and when we're streaming on live in the chat, to make sure that we have mutual respect and support, and encouraging all participants to be treated with respect. Conduct on and off the track will be sporting, family-friendly, and professional at all times. Participants, again, including fans, even in streaming, will not engage in any behavior that will endanger the health, safety, or well-being of any attendees on or off the track. Insults directed at anyone or profanity of any kind is forbidden, and please use positive tones when encouraging the skaters and refrain from negativity towards or about any of the participants. And finally, let's have a great time today and enjoy some junior roller derby. All right, and we have the first jam. We have Rubik's Dude for Pixies and Sweaty Baby for Foxtails. Both jammers working to get through the pack. Des Moines gets, the Pixies get lead jammer. And Sweaty Baby is trying her best to get through the pack. She's met the Pixie blockers. One of the Pixies is going to the penalty box. And Pixies has made it through on the outside. And Foxtails made it in through the pack on the inside. And the Pixies are going to be calling off that jam. Pixies do have one of their blockers in the penalty box, so the Foxtails are starting with a pack advantage. Little Miss Savage is jamming for the Pixies, and Tears of the Lynx for the Foxtails. Foxtail blockers doing a good job of holding back the Pixie jammer. As the Foxtail jammer was attempting to go to the outside to get lead, but did not happen and got cycled back. Waiting for the whistle. And Pixies have an advantage. There are two Foxtail blockers, and the Pixies got through. Triscuit is lead jammer. As the Pixies are swarming against the Foxtails jammer, working very effectively together. And easily the Pixie jammer goes to the outside to pick up another 4 points. And the Foxtail jammer is meeting resistance, but made it through on the apex jump to get an initial pass. And the jam is called off by the Pixies. That's going to be a 16-point jam for the Pixies and only a 2-point jam for the Foxtails. For those of you that are new to Derby, when you have lead status, which means you're the first jammer that got through the pack, the privilege of doing that means that you get the opportunity to call the jam off whenever you would like before the full 2 minutes. It is a strategy that a lot of jammers and teams use to prevent the other team from being able to get points. So we have both jammers working their way. We got Foxtails being cycled back. The Pixies jammer is working and pushed her way through and has gotten lead jammer status. While the Foxtails Penny Rebel is still working, getting held up in the pack. That's being held up by Glitter Bomb. And Lemony Stitches with the Pixies, the jammer, is getting held up in the pack as well by Rotten Candy. She is holding up her wall. Foxtail's jammer getting cycled back, and the pivot is actually going to the box. And again, the Foxtails is getting cycled back. And the jam was called off. Looks like we have a little bit of an injury that needs to be checked out. Hopefully they're okay. They're standing, so that's a good thing. Hopefully it was just a funny bone hit and all's gonna be fine. So now we have the jammers back on the line. We have a pivot for Foxtails in the penalty box, so they're going to be down a man. And we have another official timeout. And as you can see, the players are chatting on the track, having a good time. That's what part of being in roller derby is about. And the jam is on, and the Pixies come out fighting. Rubik's Dude is getting recycled. The Foxtail jammer Crash Mash is getting held up on the outside wall. This Pixie wall is tight. They are holding the Foxtail jammer back as the Pixie jammer, Rubik's Dude, is making it through the pack, picking up an additional 4 points. Rubik's Dude's doing a lot of juking out there on his skates, having the ability to go back and forth. without allowing the Foxtails to be able to pick up what his strategy is. Some great skating skills there showed by Rubik's Dude, who's made it through for another 4. This is a 12-point jam for the Pixies. The Foxtail jammer, Crash Mash, has got held up in the wall. The Pixies wall is doing a great job working together to hold back this jammer. And the Foxtail jammer has finally made it through the pack for their initial pass. And Rubik's Dude is getting cycled back, and he calls it off. For those of you at home, and we have the Foxtail jammer for those of you at home, we're in an official timeout. The referee is speaking with the Foxtails coach. And it looks like the Foxtail blocker is going to the box. And we now have fielded a... Foxtails have fielded a jammer. So the Pixies are at a one-man advantage on the track. Well, nope, that is incorrect. It is, both teams are down 2 blockers. I'm going to see how well each of these teams work together, these players, to hold back these jammers. They're both doing an excellent job of working through the pack. And we have the Pixies jammer, who is Little Miss Savage, get a cut track and sent to the penalty box. So the penalty box for the Pixies is loaded. And one blocker comes back out for the Pixies. And we have the Foxtails getting a whip around the apex. And they have 4 points and lead jammer status. This is a power jam for the Foxtails. And a slight little hop jump, and gets another 4 points for legs. This is going to go the full 2 minutes. Little Miss Savage for Pixies had lead jammer status and lost that status when she went to the when they went to the penalty box. So both jammers are back on the track. Foxtails jammer is getting recycled, whereas the Pixies tried to pass on the inside with a failed attempt and getting cycled back. And that went the full 2 minutes. So that was a 15-point jam for the Foxtails and a 2-point jam for Pixies. Score being 49-17 going to the Pixies. So right now we have a 32-point game, but we're only going into jam 7. Looks like we have a timeout called by the Foxtails. All right, the jam whistle has blown for Jam 7. Both of these teams are pretty well matched so far. And we have the Pixies, who's taking lead jammer status. Excuse me, the Foxtails, girl power had the lead jammer status on that. But they called it off, and there was a 0-point jam.
Next time out, we can go back to it.
All right, we are going into Jam 8. Looks like both jammers are getting stuck in the wall. And there we go, Pixies. Little Miss Savage has made her way through the pack. But she got a cut track in the process and getting sent to the penalty box. That means we are on a power jam for the Foxtails. So there is lead status for Penny Rebel for the Foxtails. And she's getting some offensive assistance from her teammates to get through the pack. And the Foxtails have called this jam. They left the Pixies have their jammer standing in the box. So this technically is a power start for the Foxtails. And they have pack advantage. So this is Jam 9, and Foxtails Party Poison has gotten lead jammer status as Little Miss Savage comes directly out of the penalty box through the pack with ease to get the initial pass. But Foxtails shuts him down and calls off the jam before they're able to score any points. But Foxtail gets 4, Pixies are 0. Scores 49-24 going to the Pixies with a 25-point lead. Starting this next Jam 10 with both jammers on the line for both teams. Both jammers looking for a hole to get through the wall. And Wreck-It Riley for the Foxtails got knocked out, recycled. Working her way through the pack, Wreck-It Riley is, and before they can get through, the Pixies have called it off. So that was a 2-point total jam for the Pixies. Now these teams are coming into this particular game, Game 2 of the JRDA 2024 JRDA Championships. The Pixies is coming in at seed 3, and the Foxtails are coming in at seed 6. But the Foxtails have made it through. Nope, and cut track. Foxtails is going to the penalty box, so we now have a power jam for the Pixies. We have 2 Foxtail blockers trying to hold back Pixies, but they make it through, gaining lead status. And he easily makes it through the wall for another 4 points. Takes the outside with a little hop on the apex. And that is a call for the jam. That's an 8-point jam for the Pixies. All right, and we're looking at the penalty board for the Pixies. Right now, we have Thunder Breeze has 4 penalties gone to the box. For those who aren't new to Derby, once you reach 7 for the game, you are removed from the game and ejected for penalty point. And then for the Foxtails, we have Hellcat, who's got 3 penalties. But they've had 7 players that have been sent to the penalty box versus, I think it was only 4 players for the Pixies. So both jammers are off the line. Rubik's is being cycled back. Rubik's is being held up by the Foxtail wall as Party Poison is getting cycled back by the Pixies. And Rubik's Cube has made it through getting lead jammer status, working both sides of the track. Party Poison is looking for a hole, so she needs a little bit of assistance from her blockers to help her with an offensive move to get through. And Party Poison has made herself through and then was reconnected with the blockers from the Pixies. And the Rubik's Cube made it through, picking up another 4 points. This Pixie wall is working very well together and being very effective. Party Poison has got knocked down, recycled back. And we have Penny Rebel, 144, doing some offensive moves and switching back and forth between offense and defense, helping her jammer and blocking the other jammer. Party Poison is having a really difficult time of getting through this pack. She really needs some help with offense from her blockers to help her get through. And Party Poison looks a little tired, gets knocked out again on the apex. It went the full 2 minutes. That is a 24-point jam for the Pixies. I think that's the most so far. We're only in jam 12. That's 24 points for the Pixies and 0 for the Foxtails. So score being 83-24. That's a pretty big spread. That is a 59-point spread. And the jam is on. We have legs for Foxtail and no pass, no penalty. She doesn't get late jammer, but she didn't get penalized either. And so the Pixies were able to get through cleanly, and they got lead jam status. And the Foxtail jammer has gone down on the outside, got cycled back. And easily, Little Miss Savage has glided to the inside past the Foxtail jammers. Both jammers are fighting, and Pixies has made it through again for another 4 points. Whereas the Foxtail jammer is still on their initial pass. The Pixies are not making it easy for the Foxtails. And as you see these skaters, when they branch out about every 10 feet, they can only be 10 feet from a player on their own team. So that's when they spread out, like giving opportunities for either in the front or the back for the blockers to do some damage with the jammers, trying to hold them back. Number 7 just got an out for Pixies, which is Thunder Breeze. She just did a really good outside hit and was holding that line tight. The jam 13 has been called. Scoreboard is 99-28. We are at a my math be mathing today, that would be a 71-point lead difference. It looks like the blockers are getting together, coming up with a game plan. Both teams have jammers on the line, so we have a full track. Jam is on. The Pixie jammer, Triscuit, is really pushing on this wall. Takes a little bit of a tumble, gets back up, still working to get through. And then the Foxtail jammer looks like they got cycled back. The Pixie jammer, Triscuit, looks like he's holding his nose or something. And he's looking over at his bench. Wreck-It Riley is trying to get through this Pixie pack. Keeps getting cycled back, getting knocked out of bounds. So both teams' jammers are getting held up in the pack. Both walls are doing their job. And we got the Foxtails pivot, got sent to the penalty box. So now the jammer only has to deal with 3 of the blockers. But the Wreck-It Riley kind of snuck that one through on the outside to get lead jammer status. And the Pixies, Triscuit is taking off his panty. Again, the Foxtail jammer goes to the outside, but they got to cut track. And Wreck-It Riley is getting sent to the penalty box. So this is going to go the full 2 minutes. Which wasn't very long. So the Pixies on the next jam 15, are going to start with a packet with an advantage because they're going to have a jam start. A power start, excuse me. And if you don't know what a power start is, that is when one of the jammers is in the penalty box. So the other jammer not only is going to get help, they're going to get help from their blockers when they're trying to get through. And Rubik's Dude got lead jammer. Made quick footwork of that to go on the inside to get 4 points. And the white jammer, Wreck-It Riley, is back out on the track. But is getting held up in the wall. Trying their best to got through the wall for their initial. Now they got to quickly come around the track and try to get back through before it gets called with no result there. Pixies called it off. That was a 10-point jam for the Pixies. We're now at 109 to 30. That's a 79-point point difference. We have 7 minutes left in the first half. So Jam 16 is on. We have both jammers that are on the line. We have Little Miss Savage for Pixies and Girl Power for Foxtails. Both of them working hard. And the Pixies have lead jammer status as Foxtail Girl Power is getting cycled back. And Pixies jammer comes in, hit that wall hard to pick up another 4 points. And we have a white blocker going to the penalty box. Not sure what that penalty was for. So it looks like we have a Pixie advantage here. They have all 4 of their blockers, and the Foxtails only have 2 because they have 2 in the penalty box. And not no more because from second to second, things change so quickly. The pivot for the Pixies got a penalty and was sent to the penalty box. So it looks like we have a Foxtail advantage. Well, as soon as you say it, something changes. We have a white blocker and 2 black blockers in the penalty box. Actually, this is the power jam. We have the white jammer is in the penalty box. Glitter Bomb is jamming for the Pixies. And she got knocked out by number 37 with the Foxtails being cycled back. And we have the blocker number 9 for the Pixies joining her pack to help aid in keeping Crash Mash from getting through. It's like we have something that's dropped on the track and was picked up quickly. Both jammers are fighting and struggling to get through these walls, but Glitter Bomb has made it through. And we have a Pixie blocker going to the penalty box, and we have a Foxtail blocker coming back onto the track out of the penalty box. So they're just like switching places here. And so the Pixies are really trying. Their jammer, Glitter Bomb, is really trying. She just got knocked down. It's like they're losing energy. Cycled back. They're waiting for Glitter Bomb to come back onto the track, and she re-enters in the back of the pack. And we had a white star pass. And that was called. GM 17 had a 4-point for the Pixies, which was 129 to 30. Foxtails got 0. It's been a little bit since they've gotten any points on the board. But we do have 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in this half of the game. Both jammers come in full fury into these packs. Looks like Rubik's Dude is working his way back and forth from the inside to the outside on the track. But Betty Ray snuck on the outside for the Foxtails and took lead status. And Rubik's Dude from the Pixies got caught in the pack. He's taken off the panty and has done a star pass to his pivot. And it looks like that was not an official star pass. Rubik's Dude had to go back and pick up the panty, and he is continuing to be the jammer. I'm not sure exactly what happened right there. It looked like he might have gotten a penalty during the star pass. We'll see here. Yes. When the Pixies were trying to, Rubik's Dude was trying to do a star pass, it was an incomplete star pass. He got a penalty in the process of doing it. So the pivot had to drop the penny and the original jammer pick it up and go to the penalty box. And now we have an official timeout. And there we have the swoop. This is going to be a power start. Yep, a power start in favor of the Foxtails. Legs is working and made it through to get lead jammer status. And one of the blockers got separated and mixed up with the Foxtail wall. The Foxtails are really working well on their offense, helping their jammer out and using this power jam as to their full advantage. And the Foxtail jammer got knocked out of bounds. And that jam is called. It looks like that we are in intermission for 15 minutes. We're going to see you guys back here in about 14 minutes so that we can continue on the second half of Game 2 for the Junior Roller Derby Association's 2024 Championships. Hello and welcome back to the second half of Game 2 for the 2024 JRDA Championships here in Chicago, Illinois. We are seeing the Pixie Roller Derby versus Foxtails Junior Roller Derby. These two are going against each other to see the winner of this game is going to go up against FOCO. And then we have the points per jam. You can see where the Pixies have had some very successful jams, getting 16 and 24-point jams. That's a lot of points to be in a particular when you have 2 minutes or less to gain these points advantages. And then we also have the penalty board for the Pixies. Right now, we have a couple of skaters that have 4 penalties, as in Thunder Breeze and Brutal Beauty is 3. Where this comes into play is once a skater gets 7 penalties in a game, they are ejected, and then their team is down a player. And we have the Foxtails here. We have, it looks like a Hellcat number 177 has been taken out of the game. Not sure, we'll maybe find out about that later. It was not an ejection, but they no longer are on the track. We'll find out a little bit about that. So the actual halftime is over. Both teams have gone through a safety check for their gear, and they are waiting on the officials to get the game started. We're waiting for the swoop. Right now it's a little quiet as everyone is anxiously awaiting for this second half to get started. In our area for the parents of these teams, that is very packed over there in that area. And then we have a lot of cheering and good sportsmanship coming out of the parents, rooting on their players. And there is the swoop we've been waiting for. That is the official notice to let the players know, we're getting ready to start again. Need to get on the track. We have well, we are starting this one off with one of the black blockers in the penalty box for Pixies. So Foxtails are going to get a pack advantage. And it looks like actually this is a power jam. That is the jammer sitting in the box. So the white jammer, who is Party Poison, made it all the way around and got met back up with the wall of the Pixies. But Rubik's Cube dude is working really well. He fought through to get through the pack. And so it is being called off by the Foxtails, which is a great strategy. What they're doing there by calling it off is so that the other team is unable to get any points. They have to pass the jammer has to pass their hips, past the blockers, to be able to get points. The main benefit of being a lead jammer is having the opportunity to call that off before that jammer can get through. All right, we have a full track. Penalty box is empty. It looks like both jammers are working up against a heavy wall for both teams. Hyper for Pixies is working to the outside but got knocked out and cycled back before coming back into the pack on the inside. Then we have the Foxtails jammer, who looks a little tired, trying to get through the pack. They need to do a better job of pushing and changing things up just a little bit. Betty Rage is getting a little bit of assistance and made it through the pack, but got knocked over. And she came back in. There was no penalty on that one, as the Foxtails calls that jam off. 911 for Foxtails, having a little bit of trouble getting through that pack. Betty Rage. That was a 0-point jam. And it looks like we have the Foxtails coach talking to his players, encouraging them, looks like, telling them what the next game, and he's presetting his bench. And the Jam 3 is on. We have Hyper in the box for Pixies. So this is a power jam. Wreck-It Riley has made it through the pack and has gained lead status. Number 7 for the Pixies, which is Thunder Breeze, is doing a great job of blocking and preventing the jammer from going through, and it was called off. That is a 4-point jam going to the Foxtails. They're doing a great job of slowly picking up each jam, the 4 points, and then calling it off whenever they get lead jam to prevent the Pixies from scoring. We do have an empty penalty box going into Jam 4 of the second half. Both jammers speeding off the line. A little blocker on blocker action there to prevent them from coming in. And Trisket was trying to go to the outside, but quickly called it off before the Foxtails was able to pick up any points. So that was only a 1-point jam. So the Foxtails are going to be, their strategy is to start with their pivot at the front of the jam, of the pivot line. Oh, nope, they're all moving back towards the jam line. And Legs made it out very quickly to get lead jammer status for the Foxtails. all the blockers are scrambling to try to get the block in, and it is called off by the Foxtails, but not before they were able to get 4 points on the board. And it looks like we have the Foxtails talking some strategy. And the Pixies have quickly sent their jammer out onto the track. So both jammers, looks like the Foxtail jammer, Party Poison, had a little slip there off the jam line. And there was some quick movement there by Rubik's Cube to go around the blocker and make it to lead jammer. And a little bit of hop skip around that apex, and again for Rubik's Dude as he adds 4 points to the scoreboard. It looks like the Foxtails needs to work on getting their offense together to be able to help their jammer, but at the same time, they're having to work the defense. It's a little shaky on the defense when the black jammer is getting through. That corner is a little tough. We're having a lot of spills over there in that, on that first turn. A little fancy footwork there, back skating to get through the pack. And we got both jammers being cycled back. Back onto the track. They got done a little. And Rubik's Dude made it through. And it looks like the Foxtails jammer went to the penalty box right there at the end. So this is going to be a power start for the Pixies. They're going to have the advantage. They really could work together and use this to their advantage and have their blockers work some offense on the Foxtails so that they can get out into the lead. And it looks like that's exactly what they did. Hyper made it straight through on the inside to get lead jammer status. Already back into the pack, does a quick little hop and gets another 4 points. Looks like the Foxtails need to get together and group up to work on their blocking wall. As again, Hyper does some fancy footwork and just squeezes right through those Foxtail blockers. And I think that the Pixies were unexpectedly seeing that jammer, and the Pixies called it off before the Foxtails could get back around the track to gain any points. But the Pixies do come out of this with a 10-point jam. And we have a 106-point game. That's 106 points difference. 156 for Pixies to 50 for the Foxtails. And you could tell who the Foxtails coaches are. They are dressed in their Foxtail onesies, adding a little bit of flair and charisma to the track. Again, we have, it looks like we have a new jammer for the Pixies. Haven't seen them out today yet. This is Fustercluck jamming. They are working and pushing on those blockers to get that. They're out of pack. They have to let them go. And Fustercluck has lead jammer. They really had to keep pushing to get that. And it looks like Foxtails need to group up and work together. And Pixies are going to call that jam off after they receive 4 points. Score 160-50 to the Pixies. We are going to be starting this next jam with advantage for the Pixies because they do have a white blocker in the penalty box. And quickly, Little Miss Savage comes off the jam line. Gets hit out. They got lead jammer. No, they didn't get lead jammer. But they did get knocked out. Had to recycle back. Now they officially have lead jammer status. And the white jammer, Crash Mash, is still trying to work through the pack. Pixies are doing a great job on that tripod wall. And now they have 2 blockers working on the white jammer to hold them back. They're spreading out because you can only have 10 feet between you and another teammate. And Little Miss Savage is working her way through the top of the pack. There's 2 blockers holding her from the Foxtail, and they ended up with a penalty, and so they have lost lead. They got a high block sent to the penalty box, and we have a little bit of a spill as the Crash Mash, the white jammer, got knocked out. Had a couple of blockers fall on top, but they're all back up. It looks like the white jammer is losing her endurance. She's been working very hard to get through this pack. It's got to be tiring. Little Miss Savage is back on the track and goes through. They've lost lead jammer status, but she's quickly able to add on another 4 points for her team, 168-50. And we have the Foxtail captain coming to the center of the track. It looks like they're either going to do a timeout or an official review. I guess we'll find out in just a moment what they're going to be doing. He's going to do a timeout for the Foxtails. So while they're doing a team timeout, the Foxtails are the coach is talking to the refs. This may turn into an official review. After they get clarification, we will find out. But they're discussing the penalty or lack of penalty that was given to a player. So the Foxtail coach is going back over to the bench, and it looks like the officials. And then we have the Pixies bench bringing up the spirit of the crowd and cheering on their teammates. As we have both teams on the track. So it really wasn't an official review. I guess they were just getting clarification on a call that was made. So we have the swoop. The next whistle is going to start the jam. And jam is on. We have Rubik's Dude versus Legs for Foxtails. They're both working very hard against these blockers. The blockers are doing a very good job. And Rubik's Cube saw an opening and went to the outside, but Foxtails circled back around and was able to stop. But they had to let him through. 209 is being sent to the penalty box for the Foxtails. Sue-Weddy Baby. So we have 2 players for the Foxtails in the penalty box. So we have a Pixie advantage. the two foxtail blockers really need to work together and stay together on this jammer. So we have one white blocker back on the track. So we have a tripod, and they work together with the pivot to hold that black jammer. And we have a blocker that came out of nowhere on the left-hand side. And the white jammer looks like they got a penalty and was sent to the box for a forearm. And so now we are going to have an official review, and it's probably on this last call that was made because it was their jammer that was sent to the penalty box on the forearm. Whenever you see a coach come out on the track like that, that's normally what they're going to be doing is official review. So the Foxtails coach is speaking with the referees, and we should find out what that call is. So you do get 2 official reviews. If the official review is determined to be granted, then they will get one opportunity to get it back, to get their official review back. But that can only happen one time per period. So now we have the refs who are discussing the situation as a group to see who saw what and what call was made. And we have to show our appreciation to all these refs and NSOs. Without them, these kids wouldn't be able to play derby. So the ref is now discussing with them of what their decision was. But it looks like we have the Pixies grouped up, and they're just having a discussion and discussing gameplay. I really like these uniforms. They are very bright in color with the black and the fuchsia and the blue. We're going to have some players' hair color matching their uniforms. All right, so that sounded like they were blocking out of bounds, which is not allowed. It is a penalty, but that was not granted. We do have Little Miss Savage as lead jammer for the Pixies, and the Legs is still in the penalty box, so they are in a power jam. But Legs just came out and is back on the track. Came into the blockers, kind of doing some fancy footwork. She got pushed out and being cycled back. But the Pixie Jammer is making their way around. They've already got 8 points for this jam. And they were hip checked, and they were able to stay inbounds. And so we have the blockers speeding up their pace on the skate. And the point behind that is it has to work, the jammer has to work even harder to get to the pack before they can get through it. So if you can wear them out a little bit. And we have a little bit of blocking on the jammer from the Foxtail pivot. Legs made it through for 4 points on that jam, and it gets called off, and that was a 16-4 jam. It's a 142-point lead, but these junior skaters are putting it all out on the track working their hardest together as a team to get points up on the scoreboard. We are going to be starting this next jam with a foxtail advantage. The black pivot is in the box. And the white jammer got knocked out and down, but they come back in. They have to come back in behind the person that knocked them out. Triscuit has lead for the Pixies. He's looking for a hole. And it looks like they made it through. The Pixies are doing a great job of holding the white jammer back. Tenacious B. And that was a little hop there from Triscuit for the Pixies to pick up another 4 points. The white wall needs to kind of help out their jammer a little bit, playing some offense. But they're working hard on the defense to prevent Triscuit from getting through. And they did very well right there, the white wall did, of holding back and separating some of the blockers from each other. Tenacious B has just gotten a penalty and sent to the penalty box. So this next jam is going to be a power start in favor of the Pixies. Foxtails jammer is in the box, Tenacious B. All right, it looks like the Foxtails had a little bit of power meeting right there. And we have Striking Viking. We have a new jammer out for Pixies. First time seeing her this game. And the white tripod is doing a good job of holding back the black jammer. They just got disrupted by the black jammer blockers, excuse me. But their white blockers are doing an awesome job of holding back the Pixies jammer, but they have had to let her through. White jammer has gone through. Striking Viking for Pixies does have lead jammer status, so they have the opportunity to call this off if it gets called off before the 2 minutes. And it looks like she is going to call it off. That way the Foxtails cannot pick up any additional points. And looks like we have an empty. And we have an official timeout. We have about 10 minutes and 51 seconds left in this second half of the game. There's our swoop, telling the players to get ready for the next whistle is going to start the jam. And we do have our audience members cheering on their players here in the arena. And we have Rubik's Cube, who made it out for lead jammer status for the Pixies. And Crash Mash has gotten swallowed up by the blockers. But she found a hole and has gone to the outside to get her initial. And Rubik's Dude made it through the pack and called it off, giving a 4 points for the Pixies, a 0 for Foxtails. Both teams are fielding a full team onto the track. So we have both jammers pushing their way through, and it looks like Betty Rage from the Foxtails made it through seconds before Pixies did. So they had lead jammer, and they immediately called it off when the Pixie jammer came within striking distance. That way, no one got any points on this particular jam. Looks like there is no advantage to either side. They are fielding all 4 blockers and jammer for each team. And the jam is on. And the Foxtail jammer kind of held back there a little bit, I think, to see what the Pixie jammer was going to do. She keeps pushing, and she got pushed out. She almost had it through. The black jammer is getting cycled back as well. They are working hard. And the black jammer gets cycled back. That was almost a cut track, but he caught himself and went back. Trisket is not giving in. They keep pushing and trying to make it around this white wall. We got a little bit of a spill there. Everybody's back up, and we have another spill. This track is a little sticky, I think. At some points it's sticky, and at some points it's slick. And it is a sport court, so if you're not used to skating on sport court, it takes a little bit getting used to. And that was called off. So we have a 4-point jam for the Pixies, and we have another official timeout. All right, looks like they're letting the timer run out for the 1 minute. If they call a timeout, they only get 1 minute. And we have some cheering going on in-house from the skaters, cheering on the other teams. All right, so we are back on. The whistle was blown, and both jammers are fighting to get through the pack. And it looks like Rubik's Dude made it through with a little hop through. And Penny Rebel is getting held up by the wall, and she slipped around and made it through her initial pass. And the white blocker was really working hard to hold back Rubik's Dude. He got 4 points on that jam before calling it off. We have 1 white blocker in the penalty box, so they're going to have a Pixies advantage. All right, we got Little Miss Savage as lead jammer. She's with the Pixies. And Foxtails Crash Mash made it through in the initial, but Little Miss Savage is wasting no time getting through that pack to pick up another 4 points. And Crash Mash is meeting point for point at this moment. And Savage is calling it off so that Foxtails do not pick up any additional points. They did get 7 points in that jam, goes to the Pixies, and only 4 points to the Foxtails. They're doing an excellent job of keeping the score down on the Foxtails, calling things off to make sure that they don't pick up any stray points. And it looks like we have a Pixie in the box, so the Foxtails have an advantage. And Foxtails immediately comes out as the lead jammer. working on the outside to the inside. Penny Rebel has done a great job getting through, picking up 4 points. And Rubik's Dude has made it through on their initial. And that jam was called off. 0 point. Here's the switch. 0 points for Pixies, 4 for the Foxtails. We have some cheering going on here in the venue in support of both of these teams. We have a full track. Both teams have, excuse me, that's incorrect. We have white blockers standing in the penalty box. That means they're going to be let go within 10 seconds to rejoin their team. Girl Power made it through the pack, but Little Miss Savage has lead jammer status, and she calls it, getting 4 points before the Foxtails can pick up any additional points. And the Foxtails have decided that they want to be on the upper half of the pivot line to block the jammer from the Pixies. And that gives the opportunity for the Foxtail jammer to get through and get lead jammer status. Foxtails coming through on the inside, does a shoulder block, gets through 4 points, and calls it off before the Pixies jammer can get through. They are holding their ground, trying to hold the Pixies back. And they're doing a great job of doing so, working well together as a team today, both the Pixies and the Foxtails. We have 3 minutes left in this particular half. And we have some skaters out there doing a little bit of dancing on the track, showing their excitement for the game. We do have a Foxtail advantage because we do have 2 blockers from the Pixies in the penalty box. Rubik's Dude is pushing hard on these blockers and went to the inside middle and has made it through to get lead jammer. And as he did that, Wreck-It Riley went to the outside and made it through the pack. So this pass, both jammers were getting points. Rubik's Dude looking back and noticing that the white jammer was getting ready to make through, get some points, and he called it off real quick. That is using your lead jammer status effectively. We do have a Pixie advantage. The Foxtails have a blocker in the box. Crash Mash is pushing to get through this Pixie wall as Little Miss Savage goes to the inside. Fancy Foot works straight through. Crash Mash is still fighting to get through. Finally does make it through for her initial pass. And Little Miss Savage calls off the jam. They get 4 points on that jam. You got to consider the skaters, they have a lot of talent going on out there on this track at any given time. They are on 8 quads on a sports court, and many of them have their home rink is wooden or concrete. So it's a whole different effect of trying to skate on this sports floor. Getting your grip takes a little bit. And we do have some one-on-one jammer blocker action right there between the white jammer and the black blocker. Looks like they got a penalty and was sent to the box. White jammer has lead status. through all of that. And we have a little bit of jammer on jammer. They're like right on each other. And they both get pushed out, cycled back, and white jammer is trying to get through, taking a little bit of a breather, and then glides around to the outside to pick up 4 more points. And Pixies are calling it off. The score being 249 to 72, 252 to 72. This is the unofficial score. Both teams did an excellent job of leaving it on the track and putting all the effort remaining. And here's our points per jam. The Pixies, the highest jam that the Pixies had was a 24-point jam, and that was in the first period. The second they had a couple of 16-point jams in the second half. But for the Foxtails, they did a 15-point jam in the first half and never got over 4 points in any particular jam, and they only got points on about half the jams going through. But the official score is 252 to 72, going to the Pixie Roller Derby. Congratulations, great job to both teams. I look forward to seeing them again play later today and tomorrow. And this is the conclusion of the Game 2 for the 2024 JRDA Championships here in Chicago, Illinois. We will be back in approximately 15 minutes for the Game 3, which is going to be the female division, which is Santa Cruz Derby Groms against the Nashville Junior Roller Derby. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. This is Chaos Coordinator, and we'll see you back here shortly.